welcome to the 707 show here on the Facebook group, the 707 show. I'm Moira Bush.
And I'm Kathryn Dzsudzsak.
Kathryn Bork.
And this wonderful, beautiful, colourful duo that you're seeing on the sofa tonight co-hosting with me, we actually call them, and I'm sure you can see why, Kathryn Blue and Kathryn Red.
Yep.
And we love that you allow us to just colour code you.
Love it.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I was very tempted to do something yellow tonight so we'd have all the primary colours, right? But in winter, I don't think I have any yellow to wear, I'm afraid, so I had to be as neutral as I could.
I did try to convince her to grab a banana, but she wouldn't grab the banana.
She said, hold up a banana, you have something yellow in your hands. Oh, you funny girls. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is a show that goes live at 7:07 on a Tuesday evening on the Facebook group, and it is a spiritual talk show. We did a poll right at the beginning of the year and asked the members of the group what topics they'd like us to discuss. Tonight's topic was on that list, and it is about boundaries. So it's a very interesting topic because both Kathryns are coming from different perspectives with boundaries. So if you've got boundary issues, we'd like to hear from you. So you'll see there's a screen here behind us, and your comments will be flashed up so we're aware of you joining in the conversation. All right. So there we go. You see there? Okay, Shirley Baines is in.
Hey,
Megan Casey. Oh, that's family from you.
Shannon.
Yeah.
Hi, Shannon.
Shannon, hello, darling. All right. So for those of you who are our regular viewers, we want to thank you for your wonderful support. This is the second last episode in the season 1 of the 707 show. So we're doing pretty good, eh?
I think
So we've
so.
done pretty good. And it's both your second time co-hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. First time together.
Now, very brave. They came back.
Yeah.
All right. Right. So we did a little poll, as we will normally do before a show, to ask you, in the members in the 707 show group, what you thought about boundaries. So we put a question out. And what did you think of this, girls? It said there, what is the most important boundary that you set in your life? And we gave a few. And the top one that came out, were you surprised by that one?
I wasn't.
You thought it was a good one?
Excellent one.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's because it all. I guess it's because of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So
I know,
yeah,
it's
so
so
this
fun.
is really So this is really cool because it's just like I had put on when I shared the show onto my Facebook page, I had put on there that Kathryn is going to be talking about the boundaries on the human side, and I'm going to be talking about the boundaries on the spiritual side, and because that's where and the way that they interconnect. So this is going to be really fun.
This is going to be really
Yeah.
fun. So hold your horses, guys. For those of you
Because they are connected.
What I thought was really interesting is that the financial, sexual, and the kind of material possessions one just didn't feature at all.
That just.
It's like, that's not important,
Yeah.
right?
It's like, who cares about that?
So, Kathryn, you said, Kathryn Red, I'm going to just say red and blue, right? So, Kathryn Red, you were interested in this topic because you said the valuable lesson for you around boundaries was around your material life, around your general life. Why?
Well, see, it's important to remember that we're separate beings and unique individuals, and if we don't set the boundaries, then we're sacrificing our independence. And I had this wonderful experience of doing this horse thing that I was talking to you about. Some friends and I got to spend a day with a shaman couple and working with horses. And what we had to do was we picked a horse, and then we had to go in and the horse would reveal to us things about ourselves that we weren't aware of. And we had to, so I watched my friends as they approached the horses, and it was a trust thing. You had to approach the horse quietly and build that trust. And when it was my turn to go into the circle, my horse came at me like a banshee, and it was no me walking towards it. It was like, woo. And it got right in between the guide and I. So long story short, what the message was is that I clearly don't set boundaries. And that's what it was showing me, what it felt like, what it looked like. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. So I spent some time thinking about that. And when I really thought about it, when I know my boundaries aren't set, it shows up in my reality. I'll start giving advice. Let me tell you how to do it. Let me give you a piece of advice.
Oh, but you're the eldest in a really large family.
My sisters would probably say, she's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Aren't most big
So,
sisters?
the oldest, let me tell you, I'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
The other thing for me is blaming. If I'm blaming or doing the blame game, or I'm accepting blame, I know I'm off.
Yeah.
Feeling guilty. And the big one for me that kind of stands out is when I take others' comments or actions personally.
Wow. Yeah.
If I feel them personally, then I know my boundaries aren't set, because otherwise they wouldn't affect me. So that was a huge thing. That horse thing was a great experience.
Amazing. I've never heard of that before, but I think it's a fantastic way. So for our viewers and 707 group out there, if you have boundary issues with your family, and this sounds like a story of yours, we'd love to hear from you. So please put it
Amy,
in.
I know Joanne's there.
Oh, there's Amy. Oh, great.
Yeah.
We're so pleased Amy's joined. I'm going to just pop in here. Amy Barroso is an amazing, amazing soul. She has so kindly agreed to up our branding, our logo, and our image for the 707 show.
I know. It's like, yay, Amy.
Yes.
So this is the one you're seeing here on the screen is our old logo. The original one we just kind of started rolling with to test the ground to see whether we had a show and whether it would work. And Amy has stepped in and created the most incredible brand new logo. And our producer Michael will show you on screen what it looks like. So we're in transition right now, literally 5 minutes before we came on set. We were still fiddling with logos. And we're in transition of creating and putting her logo. Amy, we want to say thank you very much. If anybody ever wants any work done by Amy, please contact her. She's very, very spiritual. She's so tuned in. She doesn't just do a logo, she does the story. She brings the story into it. So she's really good. So thank
Brilliant.
you.
Well
Thank
done,
you,
Amy.
Amy. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
Oh, there's my daughter. Hi. The one that's moved 5.5 hours away, but we won't go to mum guilt.
Talking about boundaries, girl. 5 hours to put a boundary down.
I need my space.
So, Kathryn Blue, you said that you wanted to talk about spiritual boundaries.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when, Kathryn was giving, the story about the horse and that horses are very spiritual. And this is why a lot of shamans and that use them to teach lessons like that, being because they can also feel. And it's the same way, because when you're feeling, you're taking on something that that's not yours. It's the same, because that's your energy too. That's, it's all of the same. So they kind of, and this is why I thought this was going to be so fun. I can't even talk. Is, having the human aspect of it and the spiritual aspect of it, because we are here as spiritual beings in human bodies, and how they intertwine within each other. But what a lot of people, especially people that are really beginning to understand and wake up to their spiritual gifts, and there's tons of you out there, forget to set the boundaries on, like, I'm feeling this, I'm not feeling well, I'm picking this up. So it's all about setting your boundaries. And there's some tips at the end that I'll tell you, that I can go over quickly. But it's also about what you will allow within your energy and what you will not allow within that. And I always like using the arm's length. Yeah. Just visualizing that arm's length, because, especially if you're an empath, or if you're not sure of what you are, and you're, picking up on when someone's not feeling well, their anger, their sadness, it can be very, very daunting, and it can be doggone terrifying, especially if you're beginning to see things and hear things. A lot of children that I work with, that's their biggest thing, these nightmares and these ghosts and these monsters. And when they realize that they can tell them, I'm shutting down. And then, and it's helping them, and also gives them a better understanding on who and what is allowed to enter in and around you.
Yeah. So you would say that we treat the spiritual and material boundary really with the same approach. It's like, this is my space. So even though it's a kind of a ghosty, feely energy thing, if you had a sister that's encroaching on your space, you could say, hey, sis, stop, this is it. But if you've got a ghost creeping on your space, you can go, hey, back off as well. Yeah. You can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because your space is important. And I do like that arm's length space.
Yeah.
I've always been. When people step into that space, it just
like,
I can feel it, right?
I'm going to tell a little story, and she can yell at me later, because she's 5.5 hours away now.
Sorry, Karen.
A lot of people know that my daughter passed away 2 years ago. Well, she's been hanging around her big sister an awful lot, and big sister was getting a little bit ticked off, because she just chimes in at any time. Oh yeah. So boundaries, honey. Boundaries.
Karen, just say to her, love you sis, but not now. It's okay to say I'll see you later. I remember doing the workshop in Denmark once, and I was staying at this wonderful lady's home, and her mom had passed away. And the mom kept wanting to talk to me, and it's such inappropriate. I was in the shower, and mom popped in spirit and wanted to talk to me, and I'm like, really? And then she starts speaking to me, Denmark, and I don't speak Danish, I speak English. And I had to say to her, go back, get a translator, come back, and please, when I'm dressed and I have my makeup on, then come and talk to me. And then and she listened, and she took it, she came back, she had a chat with me. And I went upstairs and I went to see this lady, her daughter, and I said, look, your mom has a message for you, and gave her the message, and it was very beautiful. But I had to really, she was so excited that there was somebody who could communicate the message from spirit world. But so please just, yes, Karen, definitely you can set a boundary.
And that would and that happens the same, no doubt, with you when you're trying to do something and you've got all your sisters going blah, 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 blah. No boundaries.
Well,
hear that, Christine? I love you, Christine. I saw that. Hi.
Really, setting boundaries really is about having the courage to love yourself enough to even when you feel like you're going to disappoint others. It's putting yourself first, even though it might not be the flow or the popular way or following the crowd. It's about setting them. You have to love yourself enough to
and
do
respect
that.
yourself.
It takes courage to say you might be disappointing somebody, but it's what's best for me.
How did you feel the first time you actually said no? Because you realized that it was like enough was enough.
Well, you know what? It felt really odd back then. I know that. But it's almost a forgotten feeling for me now, because I find that I have been able to say no quite easily. Yeah. And it's become a second nature, and I can do it.
First time I did that, I was terrified. I just had like a lump.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh my gosh, I said no, in my human voice.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing why we have that lump and that fear of saying no is because we think they're not going to love us anymore.
They're not going to like us.
Yeah. And in fact, what happens is completely the opposite. They respect and love us more because we've been able to say, hey, I'm valuable and I value you in this way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We had a comment here. We had a question here from somebody. I don't know if Michael can scroll up for us back. Somebody had put in that she was having asked advice. She asked advice from us.
From Valley.
Alexa, how do I set boundaries with the people closest to me? I find it easy to set boundaries to people I don't know, but struggle with taking things personally from the ones I love most.
Yeah.
What would you tell her?
Well, the number one in my self thing is self-care. It's about putting yourself first. What you say, think, and feel matters.
So it's communication. You got to. So Alexa, you have to communicate and say, this is, I'm prepared to help you for this amount of time, or this length of time, or tomorrow, or maybe never.
Yeah, I think it's
say it.
Yeah, and I think it's unlearning the guilt that was taught to us that you don't do this and you don't do that, because you're always, we were taught that we give to others and we help others. And when we say, and when we finally take ownership of ourselves and say no, or this is what it is, that's what
it is. And it's a matter of respecting yourself too. It's respecting yourself and respecting others, because you can it's okay to disagree to agree to disagree. You don't have to. It's okay to say, you know what? I feel this way.
Megan just put a comment up here as well. Maybe Michael, can you look at it? I get scared that I would hurt others' feelings, and I hate confrontation. Oh, Megan, we know this one so well.
Absolutely,
we really
absolutely.
Do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan, just to tell you, I one day was at my home in England, and I was deciding to have a pajama day. I don't know if anybody knows what pajama days are, but those are the days. Oh, you do?
I do now, and I rock it.
It's a personal day. So when you work from home, your boundaries are a little blurred. To set time aside for yourself, and time where you can just vegetate. You don't have to worry about hair and makeup and do all the girly stuff you must do to look good in your business, right? So I was having a pajama day, and somebody came to my front door, and she was very insistent. She wanted to see me. So there I am, looking all bedraggled, and I could have very easily just caved in and said, come in, I'll go in and do my hair and makeup and talk to you. And I thought, no, you know, I know I'm probably going to hurt their feelings, but you know, the fact is, I'd made a decision. Today was my day off, and I actually said to her, "You got to come back and please email me when you've got time, and we'll set an appointment." And she went away, and I never saw her again. She never came back again, and I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay that she didn't respect my decision, and that was okay.
And it's hard when you work for yourself, and you do work from home, because it's harder to set those boundaries. And I learned, just to make it really quick, about taking time off and taking days off. I purposely chose an osteopath 2.5 hours from home, because that forces me to go away and not rush home to do stuff or to take clients, and force myself to have a day just for me. And it just makes it more fun, because I have a friend comes now, but now it's our daycation, because we both have our own businesses. We both work from home. And, but now I also went another step further, saying that I have to book in weekends for myself, and realizing after a family gathering this past Sunday, that my one nephew had said, like, when do you and Uncle Lee just take time for yourselves? And it's like, and he said him and his wife, what they did is they bought opera tickets. Seasons forces them to have date night to make those, and anything else outside of that, no. So, and that's...
If I can just say something too, because I think what Megan was saying there, barriers that we feel with one another that might feel like confrontation, they're just reminders that we're on different paths, that we're unique individuals, and that we can coexist peacefully when we set the healthy boundaries. Because when we set the healthy boundaries, what reflects back to us are peaceful, balanced relationships, regardless of the differences. You can be very different and have a difference of opinion, but it's just barriers letting us know that we are different, and it's okay, and embrace that uniqueness. You don't have to follow the crowd. It's just knowing.
And what I loved about what you said, because when you did the research for the show and you came up with the topic, you brought up that some people mistake a boundary for putting up walls.
Yes.
Walls of resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And walls for me are that unbreakable, unshakable kind of set in stone. And what happens is, I feel walls rob you of the experience, because you can't get in or out. You can't give or receive. But boundaries are ebb and flowing. They can, depending on how comfortable you are, how you're feeling, where you're at, you can move those boundaries. And it allows you to be able to give and receive. And it gives you the experience, which is, for me, it's what it's always about, is the experience.
See, for me, with spiritual walls, it's just like you're continually hitting brick walls. You go so far and you can't figure out what the heck is going on. Things are starting to go backwards. You're starting to get headaches or not feeling well, and everything just feels like it's beginning to fall apart. And then you realize that instead of setting that boundary, where if you really needed to have a lot of space, saying, okay, like, I'm going somewhere, I'm setting out my boundary by 10 feet around, in total around me. But it's more like, I don't want to have anything to do with anybody. And that's when the ego really starts to come in. Then all of a sudden it's like, nobody's calling me, and people, you get stuck in that, not realizing, instead of setting a boundary, they set a wall, whether it's out of hurt, out of anger, frustration, whatever it is. And, so there's that really fine line. And I have, because, over the 3 years that we've, known each other, learning about the human aspects of setting boundaries, which were walls. And, those are now starting to come down, because I realized, like, whoa, because I didn't understand. So, and then once I started to understand, then it was that beautiful correlation of these two beautiful veils just kind of meshing together. And that's when it was like, ding, it's just like, because we're human and we're energy. So it's the two combined together.
I also think that what I found in my practice, and is certainly something that's recently happened with me, is financial boundaries. Because you know how we give away and give away and give away, and we can't say no. So I put out a workshop, which I have for years been giving away for free. And I made the decision that I am going to start valuing my services more and my knowledge and wisdom. And I thought, I'm going to now do a workshop where I'm going to charge.
Yes.
And of course I had onslaught of people saying, well, when can I get that for free? When can I get the videos? When can I get that? And it was at the tip of my tongue to break my commitment to put that boundary down, that financial boundary, to go, oh, it's okay, darling, you can get it later. And I thought, no. That's done. And I had to be so firm. But it was, again, a lump in my throat. It was a lump in my stomach. It was like feeling sorry for people who don't have the money or the finances. And I had to just say, I had to stop and go, I've made a commitment, stick to it. So the financial boundaries, I think, are one of the tests we get.
How did you feel after you did that? So you went through the initial lump and all that, but what's the aftermath?
What I found was I was valuing my time and myself, and I felt good about it. And I knew if I did that, I'm reflecting that to somebody else. If I go, I value me, it must mean I value you. Right. If I go, oh shame, I'll give it to you for free, I'm actually saying you're a victim, and I'm rescuing you. It goes back into that loop. So boundaries is very, very good to help us.
Self-worth in particular.
Exactly. To also and to say we're not playing the victimhood game with you anymore. We're not going to be rescuing you and treating you as a victim. We're empowering you now. Right. So I think boundaries are very healthy in that respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Alexa, I can answer that one for how do you communicate your boundaries with loved ones without coming across in a way that is diminishing their own feelings or opinions? What if they haven't set their own boundaries? To answer the last one first, what if they haven't set their own boundaries? This may sound kind of harsh, but that's not your problem. They need to understand, like they need to understand that you're an individual, they're an individual, and it's just like Kathryn said, you don't always have to agree, and, and everything, doesn't always have to line up.
Yeah.
And I've had to set boundaries with quite a few people, somewhat in the same manner, and it's just really taking the time to see from their point of view how they're seeing it. So putting this is what I do. I put myself into their position, and then I look at it, and then that's what that's how I come into saying, okay, this is how it needs, because it's on how they all hear it. Because what I may communicate to you, you may understand differently, or vice versa.
So I sorry.
I was just going to say, it's also remembering, and it's something that I have to say, you're only responsible for yourself. Yeah. You can't change anybody. You can only change yourself. So when you're wanting to do that, you make the change that you desire. Yep. So what happens when you make the change that you desire? The people in your reality will reflect that back. They will change. They will change. It is about saying, I'm only responsible for myself. And when I take care of that, then I have that harmonious relationship showing up. Because if it isn't harmonious, then it's something about your boundaries, not theirs.
And you've got no control over what how they're going to react.
But I also think, Alexa, what can happen here is you can communicate to them that and acknowledge them, say, I understand this is how you feel and this is your opinion, but right now for me, this is where I need to be. Yep. And it's a way to stop yourself from going into overwhelm and burning out and giving too much and not having that, that defined space that you can operate and be at your top available energy to your loved ones.
Because you can't give what you don't have if you don't fill yourself first.
Or you can do what this one client of mine. He's a young man, and he just he visualizes slamming a door. If they don't listen, I visualize slamming a door, and he says, and all of a sudden they just kind of stand back. He said, because they know it's end of discussion done. Yeah. And I thought, whoa, so it's kind of harsh, but if somebody's continually in your face on something, because people only hear what they want to hear. It doesn't matter how well you articulate it and how well you try and make it so that they understand. They're only going to hear what they want to hear.
Yes, so, and that is important. And then I take it that little bit farther and saying, if that's a repeated pattern for you, then it's something that is about you. You're drawing it in. So if you have that person or repeated people crossing into your space and you're having a problem, it's not about them. I go to, what are they showing me about me? Exactly. And if I reestablish my boundaries, then this situation, if they're clear, they can't cross over and affect that way. That's how I try to navigate it. Because if they're showing me, they're always a gift. Even when it feels like a challenge.
We would my issue is giving too much to people in the moment and burning out. Yeah.
Hello, son.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's
I carry the weight of
Yeah.
emotions, stress
Yeah.
of my family, friends, and students.
Yeah, Alex, it's
speak
such
to
a
this?
when boundaries like this come up, it is so much to do with, have you put yourself in the role of somebody who's empowering somebody else, your students, for example, or are you rescuing them and do you feel responsible for their feelings? And it's a learning that we as teachers and healers and therapists have to go through ourselves. And we've all been there, where we did the
Yeah.
rescue, where we did for others. We felt all the empath in us, felt the connection that we've had with them, and we feel their stuff. So this is where boundaries become a very, very healthy
Yes.
process. So I think
Oh,
what I'd
yeah.
like to do is for you to share the tips that you came up with, and maybe this will also help, Alex. And thank you for your question. We really appreciate all
Great.
our new viewers as well. Is just share some of the tips you give so that we can shift
Yeah,
from that, nurturing victims and
Well, I
instead
have 5
empowering.
and they'll flash, but just to
Yeah.
quickly go through the one about give yourself permission. First of all, give yourself permission to be different and to speak up. And respect yourself and others, and don't expect others to embrace your values. But at the same time, don't feel compelled to have to embrace others. You're different, you're unique. So that's a big one. You're only responsible for yourself, so you can't change others. Let your feelings guide you. This is a big one here when he's talking about emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Do what feels right for you and tap into your inner knowledge, because you have all your answers inside of you. It's not a matter of taking a poll from everybody else. Really, you know what's right for you. So tap into yourself and know your values and value your uniqueness, self-awareness. To be liked or accepted isn't a matter of following the crowd.
Yeah, and it's difficult when you, because I was giving and giving and giving, and I had a number of different people saying, I'm just going to use my sessions. If somebody booked in for a half-hour session, an hour later, I'd still be going, and because I wasn't setting the boundaries and helping people. Somebody would call, I would continually take the phone call, email, text message, and because I wasn't setting those boundaries. And you have a tendency, especially when you've got this beautiful massive heart, and it's just, you need to know what your self-worth is, and that even though you are able to help everybody, you're unable to do it all the time. And I know that sounds kind of weird.
It's true.
It's just little bits and pieces and pockets. And it's just allowing yourself to say, okay, I'm allowing this, or allotting this amount of time. And once that is taken up, I need to take a step back. I need to take a step back from it. Look and see, how much, and one big question is, I have a lot of people ask, especially when they are really into that giving, is like, how much control do you have over that situation? Because you have some people that are continuing just asking and asking, and you're giving and giving, and and it's like, it's almost like you're continually running around the same block. So what I learned was, how much control do I have over this situation? 9 times out of 10 is you don't have any control over it, but how much can I control of myself to help that person? And if I'm unable to, to give it to them, I just say, this is what I can give to you right at this time. And it's because it's almost like it's a ghostly image of a boundary that they set as well, going, okay, I've got what I need. It's almost like there's a little switch that clicks. So, it's having your values and your self-worth.
Absolutely.
You've actually said here, in the tips that you've given out here, I love how you call them the ether peeps.
Yeah.
Set your hours.
Yeah. So,
I love that tip from you.
And, and that's works both ways, is just like, having that downtime on, and I'm sure, with the amount of knowledge that you have and the beautiful gifts that you have, people can continually be calling you and emailing you, and you would just go do. But what I love about you is, like, when we talk about things, it's like, no, that's for my family. It's like, bam, there's that boundary, and it's like, wow. So that I have learned from you. So thank you for that. And it's just like, it's something that I found it daunting and scary, because you shouldn't be doing that. And then I'm looking at, Kathryn, and it's just like, You know, nope, this is my time. That is for my family, and there's no offense taken. It's just like, okay, that's what it is. And it's the same way spiritually as well. You know, when you're...
Well, what will happen is if we continue to go into that giving and taking has to be equal.
Yeah.
It's the give
fair
and receive.
exchange.
So if
Yeah.
you're always giving, what happens is you're depleting.
Yep, your gas
Then
tank
what you're
runs dry.
giving isn't what you really
Nope.
want to give. It's watered down.
Yep.
So there has to be the receiving and giving,
Yep.
and you have to take care of yourself first.
Yep, exactly.
You have
And
to
I
be
think,
filled
and
in
I
order to
honestly
give.
think that's what we need to end our show off with tonight. Is
Yeah.
that's the common theme that's been coming up for us here is you've got to respect yourself. You've got to
Self-care.
self-care. Look after yourself first. If you are not strong, you can't help anybody else.
Yes.
If you give, and you're leaking, you have no boundaries. You're leaking your energy into all
Yes.
areas of your life.
Just
you're
like
going
a
to
car.
overwhelm. You'll burn
And
out.
then
Yeah.
it becomes exhausting, or you're resentful. Instead of giving for
Well,
the
you-
sake of
yeah.
joy, I love to give
It's
because
just-
I'm filled
yeah.
and I'm full and I have to give.
Yep,
You
just
can't
like-
give what you don't
yeah.
have. That's what I always
Just
say.
like, and it's like tell people you cannot. I said it's just like driving a car. If you don't put fuel in the tank, then you're just gonna pooch.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Amy, we want to finish off with a comment from Amy. She says, "Oh, boundaries, where are you?"
we'll talk, Amy. Come to the
Amy,
sanctuary again.
so
We'll talk.
If anybody tuned in and missed the beginning of the show, Amy Barroso has very kindly taken the 707 logo under her wing. She has been redesigning it. We're in the process of making a transition. We'd love to know what your feedback on it is. Have a peek on the 707 Facebook group page
Yeah.
and have a look if you like it. We'd love for you
cool.
to know what you think
We
about
had a
it.
sneak
Yeah.
peek and I
love
loved
it. Yeah, it's nice.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
We're in transition,
Great
so we
work,
hope you
Amy.
Yep.
enjoy it. And it's really great because, you know, Amy's a very creative person. So creative people have that, you're in that flow, you want to just do, and it's very difficult to put a boundary in.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
understand, Amy. And all right, so thank you. It was an incredible show. Kathryn Red and Kathryn Blue in the in the studio
It's not
today.
that we don't know how to talk or anything. We could go on for about
Yeah.
another hour and a half, maybe.
Probably.
which is usually what
But
we do.
Yeah, we
you're
do.
coming
Yeah, we
back
do.
for season 2. So we definitely have a season 2 on the 707 show. It's been a rip-roaring success. We've had great feedback. The group are loving what we're talking about. Please keep giving us suggestions of the topics you'd like to talk about. It's a spiritual talk show group, so let us have your ideas as well. And then we have got our Christmas party coming up, and it's happening on the 14th of December. And thank you for everybody who's RSVP'd, and we are looking forward to seeing you. And there's going to be an awards night, and I can already let the cat out the bag that these two are each getting an award.
Woohoo.
But I'm not telling you what it is. A surprise.
One's going to be
Come
blue
the
and
party.
one's going to be red.
One will be blue, one will be red. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'll have to think about that. Talk about boundaries in my head. Hold on, girls. So, and next week is our final, last episode for the year and for season 1 on the 707 show. And again, based on suggestions by the group, we are bringing the producer Michael, who's also my son, from behind the camera and the switcherboard onto the set, and we are going to have a frank and candid
I
conversation
can't wait.
about spiritual
And I think you should look just like
families.
that.
I can't wait.
I know.
About spiritual families working together. What is it like when you're a family and you are running a business together, especially a spiritual business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does require a certain amount
gonna be
of
fun.
know-how, doesn't it?
I might even come and hang out back there live. I don't have anything going on next Tuesday night.
Oh, that's going to be great. I can't wait, honestly.
Yeah.
I cannot.
That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. So you know, this is his first time on camera. He's always been behind camera, so it's going to to be quite exciting.
He's
So we
a
hope you will
natural.
tune in.
He's
and
extremely handsome.
support him.
He's my blushing.
Is he blushing? He's tall.
Well, thank you very
He's shaking
much
his
for
head.
tuning in. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.